Good evening. My name is Crim, and today I'm explaining the pros and cons of fracking. For those of you who have never heard of fracking, hydraulic fracturing, or fracking as it is called, is a technique used to remove oil and gas from shale deep within the earth. It has been said that fracking has revolutionized the oil industry in the United States. It has generated thousands of jobs across America and has significantly lowered the cost of oil, gas, and energy. So why all the controversy? Well, of course, every pro has a con, right? I will cover both the pros and cons for you, as well as explain why I believe fracking is just what the U.S. needed to rescue our economy. Fracking technology has been around since the 1930s, but the original process was modified in the 1990s to include horizontal drilling. After drilling a mile or more straight down, they will gradually drill horizontally for several thousand more feet, tapping into fissures in the shell. The horizontal aspect means that several wells can be accessed from one drilling site, which greatly reduces the equipment and land needed while increasing the amount of oil and gas extracted. The fissures hold pockets of oil and gas that is removed by forcing a high pressure of water mixed with sand into the fissures. The high pressure forces the gas to flow out to the head of the well, where it is then captured for production. Oilprice.com also states that after achieving experimental success in 1949, fracking quickly became commercialized. The big players in the fracking industry are Shell Exploration and Production, Anadarko, Chesapeake Energy, Howard Energy Partners, Rosetta Resources, and ExxonMobil. Oilprice.com also informs us that in his 1975 State of the Union address, President Ford promoted the development of shale oil resources as a part of his overall energy plan as a means of reducing foreign oil imports. After 35 years now, we have greatly reduced the importation of oil into our country. Some of the controversial aspects of fracking include water usage, water contamination, potential earthquakes, road damage, and noise pollution. Many people are worried that this need of water during fracking is using up an abundant amount of the Earth's precious water supply. According to GreenGarageBlog.org, each fracturing job would require 1 to 8 million gallons of water to complete. Many environmentalists worry that the current drought epidemics across the nation will be further impacted by increased fracking, and this will only increasingly diminish the fate of the people who need the water the most. The blog also states that 35 million gallons of fresh water has been removed from nearby aquifers in Michigan to be used in one single frac well. In contrast, I believe that rain is free, and as evidenced by the rising incidence of flooding in the U.S., we will not be running out of water. These same environmentalists also say that not only will water supply be depleted, it can also be affected by contamination. Air quality dynamics around fracking operations are not fully understood, and cumulative health impacts of fracking for nearby residents and workers remain largely unknown. A major study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences confirmed that high-volume hydraulic fracturing techniques can contaminate drinking water. There have been numerous reports by citizens across the country of contaminated tap water. It has been reported that some tap water has even been bubbly and flammable as a result of increased methane gases. While some of these claims may be true, it is in small contrast of the enormous amount of positive attributes of fracking for our country. Another concern about fracking is the possibility that it can trigger earthquakes. It is documented that a well in Blackpool produced minor seismic events measuring 2.3 and 1.5 on the Richter scale. This may be true, but the number of earthquakes and tremors have increased around the globe, not just in the areas where fracking has occurred. Still, another reason people are complaining about fracking is due to the fracking companies infringing on the high population areas. The industry refers to these communities as high consequence areas, or HCAs. YaleClimateConnections.org states that more than 15 million Americans have had a fracking operation within 1 mile of their homes. Their community roads are being damaged by big, heavy trucks making hundreds of trips back and forth, which then impacts production, which then impacts the infrastructure budget. Many believe that the increased production has certainly benefited America, but they wonder if it is worth the consequences. While these people wonder, the oil companies continue to drill, produce, improve the process, and drill some more to decrease taxes, increase return on investment, and decrease our country's dependency on foreign oil. According to whatisfracking.com, safe hydraulic fracking is the biggest single reason America is having an energy revolution right now, one that has changed the U.S. energy picture from scarcity to abundance. We have been able to tap into a huge amount of oil and natural gas reserves that were locked away deep within the shale formations. Hydraulic fracking can also be beneficial by allowing it to stimulate new production from wells that were previously thought to be dried up. In an article titled, "What is Fracking and Why is it Controversial?" it is stated that in the U.S., it has significantly boosted domestic oil production and driven down gas prices. It is estimated to have offered gas security to the U.S. and Canada for about 100 years now, and has presented an opportunity to generate electricity at half the CO2 emissions of coal. It is my belief that this will greatly improve the air quality by decreasing the amount of pollution from burning coal. This further justifies my stance that fracking is good, a good, clean resource of gas and oil and energy. So now that I've given you the pros as well as the cons, I hope that you can join me in agreement that the benefits to our country as a whole far outweigh the consequences that affect a small amount of people. In my opinion, the positive impact affects all of the United States, and other countries will soon be following in pursuit of the benefits. Thank you for your time. Y'all have any questions?
I have a question. Of the companies that you've listed, which company handles their fracking the best?
I would have to say Chesapeake Energy, because they are the most efficient at what they do and they've been doing it the longest. So they have a lot of time and effort that they've spent on fracking, so they know what they're doing.
About how much time does it take for them to do one fracking well?
Depending on the well, the average is 3 to 5 days, but it varies.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.